With the upcoming release of a sequel, it is the perfect time to take a deep dive into the original Garry's mod and pinpoint what has made it such a success and whether or not that success can be translated to a new game. The idea of this video came from watching El Toro 64 Russ's gmod animation tutorial. I thought to myself how incredibly frustrating it must be to pose and animate characters in first-person perspective with a fizz gun. I mean, animating is already hard enough with professional tools like Maya and Blender. And this is where gamification comes into play. We're going to start with a basic idea that game developers will always implement to increase player retention. Watch this gameplay clip. Pretty much just your average Garry's Mod stuff, but somebody somewhere at FacePunch once said, let's add some beeps and boops to trigger the brain's reward chemicals. We need to add more.
Take hold of a weapon.
You get the idea. These sound effects are created not only to serve as in-game indicators, but also to trigger chemicals in your body that provide a sense of reward and comfort. The more rewarding and comforting the game is, the more likely players are to enjoy longer sessions and come back for more after school, after dinner, or after whatever has interrupted the session. This is a very small example of gamification. The release of Half-Life in 1998, leading up to the eventual release of Steam in 2003, totally changed the software and game industry. Steam gave Half-Life a centralized platform for players to come together online to receive updates for the game, and basically just aggregated everything into one neat and organized spot. People started to get creative with the game and its creation tools and found ways to modify gameplay to spice things up, make it more interesting, and share these creations with other people. Because the technology was fairly new and limited in many ways, it forced people to get creative in finding solutions to their problems.
Yes!
It is in my opinion that such limitations, resulting in creative solutions, added to the fun factor of toying around with the source engine. Now, when it comes to tools and game engines, the workflow should obviously not have any limitations because people are often at work and they're just trying to get a job done. But when it comes to gaming, creativity is totally fun, and this translates over perfectly to Garry's Mod, where you're given a set of tools and forced to get creative with how you are going to use these tools. The limitations of Source Engine and Garry's Mod also introduce characteristics that are recognizable, fun, and interesting. You know, the typical Half-Life and Source Engine stuff. Now, what happens when you fix these limitations and you give creators total freedom? You lose that characteristic and that identity, and the creators are forced to start from scratch and create their own characteristics. Of course, having total control, total freedom over everything is cool, but is it actually better for a game? It certainly is better for an engine or a tool, but for a game, it remains questionable. Garry's Mod shares a variety of features and concepts with game development software, which allow players to create things. The difference is in Garry's Mod, the creation process is gamified. Instead of being just a cursor controlling knobs and handles, you're a character in a world controlling knobs and handles. From a game development point of view, this sounds awful, but from a gaming point of view, it's quite incredible. Players can get creative and build things in a totally immersive 3D gaming experience and have tons of fun despite being limited in various ways that ordinary creation tools would not be. Coming up on Source Engine made Garry's Mod look and feel very similar to Half-Life 2, which is a game loved by pretty much everybody. The movement mechanics, the NPCs, the weapons, the sounds, it's hard to argue that Half-Life 2 isn't an awesome game, and Garry's Mod adopted a lot of that awesomeness. Not to mention, Garry's Mod probably wouldn't even exist if it weren't for Half-Life and the Source Engine. So, Half-Life 2 was an awesome game, and Garry's Mod is an extension of it, which allows people to build, create, destroy, and do just about anything. The question now is whether a Garry's Mod sequel will be better with or without the Half-Life universe. FacePunch is a large studio now with plenty of funding and they have the ability to create their own universe, but will it live up to a Half-Life in order to be equal to or better than Garry's mod? Let me know what you think about this in the comments. Facepunch has their own universe with Rust, Tub, and Wise Guys, but will it live up to Garry's mod and the Half-Life universe? While Source Engine was great for its time, technology is a rapidly advancing field, and it was only a matter of a few years before it became evident that all the kinks and flaws of Source Engine could be improved to create something bigger and better. Thus, the inception of Garry's Mod 2, aka S&box. Garry's Mod continues to live on with a massive player base on Steam, and I'm convinced that even after the release of S&box, Gmod will continue to live on strong. However, there will always be that desire for something bigger and better. Whether or not S&box is able to capture that same essence or build an equal audience remains in question. It's evident that Facepunch has the experience required to create a captivating gaming and modding experience, so with high hopes, I leave it to the professionals to do their thing. Well, it's been fun writing this. What you're hearing now is literally the stuff that I'm typing into Notepad right now on a Friday night while all of my friends are out having a good time, and I'm sitting here writing an essay on Garry's mod. If you're still watching this, I suppose I should leave you with a proper outro, and then drown my sorrows in milk and go to bed. Stay tuned for future S&box updates. I'll keep you guys updated and save you some time. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.